What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. I hope everyone is having a lovely day. We're going to talk about one of our favorite characters today from Game of Thrones, Jon Snow, the brooding hero, or in Peter Griffin's case, the booty hero. Uh, we're going to go through some predictions here, kind of talk about some of our favorite, least favorite moments, and just have a good time. Anything kind of goes show wise in the chat, and I'll try to answer any book questions that you have if I can. I hope everyone's doing great. I will give the chat a shout out, but I want to introduce my lovely co hosts here today and awesome panel. MackenzieLBurns, aka Sasa. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, Johnny, and I'm recovering from last night's 3-hour episode club. It was I think, our longest one ever, but it was a good chat. If you haven't checked that out, be sure to do so. And yes, happy to be here and happy to join you and Feuerhexe, also known as Brita.
Yeah, hi everyone. Thank you so much again for having me. And it's really always such a pleasure and honor with you guys. And I really hope I'm able to contribute a few smart things today. I'm, as always, very nervous, as you know.
Oh, no, it's okay. I'm nervous every time. I'm even nervous right now, but I just try not to show it. You know, these people, they can't hurt me. No, I'm just kidding. What's going on? Road Dog, it's me. This is about Jon Snow and Game of Thrones. Jordy Jedi, what's going on, my friend? Ion Trone, how are you doing? It is nice to see you. Terry T, what is up? Shadow Fox, I hope y'all are doing great today out there. I can't scroll my chat right now. Can you see any more people out there to give a shout out to?
Well, there was Terry. Yeah, we said some Terry T, Shadow Fox, and Peter Griffin, I think, popped in here as well. So yeah, more friends will join us as the time rolls by.
So there's a few moments here. Jon's story arc seems to be the most exciting one out of Game of Thrones and the most engaging. But would you say there is a bad moment for Jon? Is there a scene that you really hated with Jon Snow? And I'll let Sasa go first. Pressure time.
Hashtag find the button. I feel like kind of one of his, you could say, worst moments, in a sense, is probably when what's that whole thing? I just thought about it and then I lost it. Hold on. So like the when he kind of they make him act like stupid for in some parts, like in the last episode that we covered on Episode Club, he's like, but what does Longclaw like why is Longclaw so special? It's like, it's Valyrian steel, it's in the name, like that's why it's so special. It's like, means something so special, but I feel like it was like they dumbed down his character and in some moments just to support the show watchers and the people who aren't necessarily in the know. But yeah, it's stuff like little moments like that where you're just like, come on.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go with kind of the easy one, the blanket one that everybody will go with is kind of boat sex. It's either everyone's favorite scene or worst scene, and Pyat Pre and Pyat Pre whispering to each other. That's what it seems like to me. Feuerhexe, what do you think?
I have to agree. I agree with Mackenzie. Sorry, I'm watching Outlander at the moment, and there's Clan Mackenzie, so I'm totally into this at the moment. Kenzie, I have to agree with you, and really how they dump him down sometimes in service of the plot or something. I don't really like that. And like you said, Johnny, everything in season 7, everything post Dragonstone, if he was serious about everything he said and did, and if there weren't any ulterior motives, then that's really the most horrible I've ever seen of him in the entire show.
Oh, it would be a complete regression of his character for him to go back into being into naivety. He's going back to believing whatever everyone says, and we can't think that Jon is doing this, the progression of his character would halt, to your point. And I just want to say, the Fearless Mermaid, thanks for coming out for us. Blurta, what's up? Rod, damn it, always got to say that name. Septa Shayna's Secrets, how is it going, my friend? Terry T, always a pleasure. With that, when you think about it, Jon's one of the few characters that doesn't have more than a handful of bad scenes. Like, there's other characters you can pick some stuff apart here, but even with his brooding, Tyrion notes that far better. Jon is far better at doing that than him. And that's what Tyrion's been doing this whole time. That's don't get me on a rant, but he's just been brooding for 4 seasons. And not doing very well at it. But let's see, favorite moment of Jon Snow, and I will go to you, Feuerhexe, because there's a lot of these you can pick from. Anything from him with Tormund, Davos. Oh my goodness, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, there are a lot of moments really, but I think especially I was just thinking about this, and I think especially season 5. I know everyone hates season 5, but I really like the entire Wall storyline in season 5, and I was just thinking about Hardhome again, one of my favorite moments, and just the trip there and his speech to the wildlings is one of my absolute favorite things he's ever done in the show. And then also to say also season 6 after the battle of the bastards, that moment where he's just completely once that doesn't really happen often enough, how he loses control over himself and pummels beats Ramsay into a bloody pulp. That was really, I know a lot of people were really put off by that, but I thought it was absolutely perfect in that moment. It made absolutely sense, and that's one of my favorite moments really from season 6.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that is hard to disagree with at all, and I can't. So, Salsa, what's your favorite moment?
Well, I wanted to mention it because Rod Dammit actually pointed it out in the chat as a bad moment for Jon, where he's being kind of like an asshole to Sam when Sam's like about Gilly and how pretty much Gilly needs help and Gilly wants to be saved, and Jon's like, no, we can't do that. Like, but he eventually comes around in that perspective and saves the realms of men. So it would have been bad if Gilly had, say, maybe died between that season and obviously when she's predominantly more at the wall, and like, because Sam would be completely angry at him for that, because he'd be like, my best friend doesn't like this girl that I really like, that kind of thing. But to have like a good scene with him, it's probably those scenes where he gives those not incredible speeches, but those motivational type speeches where he's like when he has to go to treat with Danny, and he's like, you all crowned me king, I didn't want it, which is completely like his character. He doesn't want to be king, but he's thrust into the position. He doesn't want to be Lord Commander. He's thrust into the position. He doesn't want to even be a steward, and he's thrust in that position to learn from Jeor Mormont. Like, it's systematically put out almost in his character to either be put in a situation that he doesn't want, and he ultimately grows from it, which is just awesome. As well as when he's declared king in the North. Like, how could you not like that scene, especially how it's played out with the scene for Bran as well.
So I'm gonna go a more sappy route because everybody knows I'm a big sap. I hide it behind cruel japes. Yeah, I said japes because I've been reading the books too damn much. But everything with Jon and Ygritte. But I'm gonna point out, Rod, damn it, everything with Mance was good. He does learn about the true nature of humanity with Mance. I can definitely say that. He learns about real people, the common people, just actual. I can agree with that. But I will say everything with Ygritte because that's his only true love. That's the only woman he will ever love in his entire life, a la Robert. And this kind of harkens back to Dany and Daria about the feeling she doesn't have for him. She knows she wants to love him. She knows that he loves her. But maybe John's feeling this same way with Dany right now. I don't feel like he can love again. I think that's kind of a big, not relationship wise. I feel like he's died before. Why is he bringing somebody into this he would love? You know what I mean? It goes against broody Jon Snow to me, and kind of to your point, Feuerhexe. So I do subscribe to the political John point theory to a point, only because I don't know if Dan and Dave are that smart.
Yeah, that's really the biggest the argument that I hear most often. People really like the theory, but they don't think that D&D are smart enough for this. So you were saying that you don't think that Jon can ever love another person after Ygritte?
I think it's gonna be hard for him, even if
That
you
would be
know.
very sad.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard. And given his mother was Lyanna, everything that ties into that, if you can think about it, you can tie a bunch of strings to Jon not loving again. At least that way, not bearing his soul to another woman.
Yeah. I must say this whole Ygritte, I wasn't the biggest fan of Ygritte in the show as a character. I didn't understand, the love story didn't really work for me. It was very, I didn't really understand why they were all of a sudden all into each other. And I understand that he was in a different position back then because I think he was mainly into Ygritte because she was challenging him, and he got a taste of freedom with her, and he was constantly torn between duty and his love for her. And I think he was really kind of he was more into a certain idea he had of a life that he could have with her than anything else, really. Yeah.
That's a good point. And see, I read the books too, so this probably has skewed me on that. In the books, Ygritte does all of these funny ass things to get Jon to like her. She is hitting on him hardcore the whole time, and Jon cannot resist her. He cannot resist her charms. He's like, I shouldn't even like her because in the book, she's not good looking. She has crooked teeth, a pug nose. And Jon doesn't even understand himself why he's attracted to her. It's a very beautiful thing. And I'm not going to get all into the books because I promised I would not do that. What's going on, Katrinzi? And Otila, Angel, how's it going? The imagination realm, what is going on? But that is a very good point. I've never really even looked at it like that, Feuerhexe.
Yeah. Yeah, the Ygritte thing is like a whole complex situation, obviously, because she has died in the show. But yeah, I really feel like Jon, his one true love of this show, like, because I know we're not getting past in the future, but I feel like the truest love and one of the best romances that's portrayed in this show in terms of how it developed and how it moved throughout the seasons was a Jon and Ygritte type thing. Jon and Dany pretty much have nothing on Ygritte and Jon's relationship. Like, Jon completely, like, yes, he plays the political game with her, but it's in a sense of feeling like he had to do what he had to do, which is completely like Brita's theory about political Jon. But when you talk about the feeling of having Jon play this game and be this manipulative, it goes to what Daario says to Daenerys of, so you're going to sit beside a perfume lord in the throne room once you win the Iron Throne. And she's basically says, if that's what I have to do, that's what I have to do. And the person who has titles and all of this stuff. So I know we all say that this is a long shot, but if Daario does come back and he sees that Jon, who the actors look pretty similar, is standing beside Daenerys, he's going to be pissed off.
You chose mini-me over me?
Yeah, the shorter version of me, just like, come on. It'll be that'll cause complete conflict, and that too is when things will probably implode. Not even after, once he finds out who his parents truly are. Like, that's a psychological implode, that not only were you not the child of the man that you thought you were, but you're actually your mother is a complete different person than you thought she could ever be, and that your father was gonna be the next king. Like that's a psychological thing in itself. So, and then to find out that the person that you started sleeping with happens to be your aunt, like that, it'll throw his mind for a loop. I can't wait to see how they do that, but as we say, D&D aren't probably smart enough to completely change Jon's psyche, because that could be his thing of his change coming back, is that he doesn't actually mind it, but that's totally not his character.
Yeah, if they have enough time to play that out, I think they could do a quick quip edit, but I don't. It's going to be hard to do in that short amount of time with the episodes. I want to get to this really quick. I just want to give a shout out to Danny McKay when he finds out that Aemon Targaryen is Aemon Targaryen. That speech. Oh my goodness. But Jon has all the good scenes. I know the actors must all be jealous of Kit Harington at this point. And then we have Icy Spots. Welcome to the chat, my friend. How are you doing? How's everyone doing? So, we got good thoughts on Jon. So clearly, Jon and Dany are somewhat together, but there's going to be a wrench thrown in here. Jon's parentage, along with what happened at the Field of Fire 2.0 in the Reach, when Samwell Tarly's parents were burned. Nope, not parents. Father and brother were burned. You have just his mother left. And, well, you could say Sam doesn't like his father, but he did love his brother, and he loves his mom very dearly. That's going to hurt her, and what hurts her hurts him. What you think, Feuerhexe? I hear you.
Yeah, I'm really. There are so many time bombs that they placed in season 7 that are about to go off in season 8 for Daenerys and her storyline. That's really such a what you just mentioned. It's the typical excuse once again for the shit that Daenerys pulls, and that people think once again she won't face any consequences because they think Sam won't care that his father and brother were brutally murdered. Of course he will care, because he's not a monster. And I don't think it's a coincidence that Sam is currently at Winterfell, and that Sam is the one who cured Jorah's grayscale, who again is Daenerys' closest advisor and friend, if you can call him that. All that is going to backfire massively next season. Sorry.
Ooh, yeah, that does kind of connect. And we do see Jorah later. Apparently, there's going to be a lot of people in the Vanguard, if you're to believe the trailer, but we won't talk about that too much. Jorah's leading it, I think.
Oh no!
But with the connections there, that's a very good connect. What do you think about that, Sasa?
Yeah, most definitely. Sam's not going to sit idly by that his mother and sister are now pretty much, I guess, in charge of the Reach, because obviously the events of the last episode, unless some minor house is raised up to take over. But we all know that Sam will probably be given the Reach in terms of being able to rule it. But yeah, like Sam will be in this complete mix of conflict. And Jon will be pretty much in the middle of it, because he'll obviously feel complete empathy for Sam, because as he said in episode 2 of season 7, Samwell Tarly is pretty much the person that I trust more than anybody in this world. So he has this complete affection for Sam. Like, Sam is his biological brother almost at this point. It's like that he loves Sam so much. And the fact that
Pinfall theory of mine is Sam becomes an actual Stark. Discards the Tarly name. But that's just a crazy tinfoil theory.
And the fact that also Jon will have face a rift with him and Daenerys. Like they're not just gonna come like yes they'll come united to Winterfell, but then when all of this implodes on them, that not only has Baelish died and how all of this other things have happened, but the fact that he is who he is, which is Aegon Targaryen, and that the woman that he thought he had no actual connection, like familial connection to, happens to be his aunt, and all of these other things coming up. Like he's gonna, like I said before, he's gonna go through this mental state change where he's just gonna be completely by himself and he want to be by himself and alone and try and figure this out, because not only does he have to face that, but he has the Night King coming for him, and the fact that Sam also saved Jorah, and how Jon really likes Jorah. So the fact that his best friend saved Jorah and all of this stuff, like it's not going to be smooth sailing. Like if they scoot this drama under the carpet, it completely just ruins kind of that whole section of a storyline. Like just to raise Daenerys to look good in the eyes of Sam, just even after she brutally murdered his parents. Like Jon doesn't like taking lives. Like the fact when he had to take the lives of the men that killed him, he hesitated on it.
What
He
did
realized
Melisandre do that pissed Jon off? I can't remember. Wait, I'm being an asshole.
she burned
She
Shireen.
burned a little child.
Yeah, she burned Shireen. But yeah, it's like the fact that he doesn't like to take lives. Like the only times he's taken lives are where it was necessary for him to move forward in his character. But even then, he didn't like it. So the fact that Daenerys is just offing people who don't agree with her is not going to be a good thing. Yes, you can say that Randall Tarley might be her Janos Slint, but even then, it doesn't work like that.
No, because Janice Lind was actually Jon was actually elected Lord Commander back at the time, and Janice Lind was disrespecting him and resisting his orders, and Daenerys was just swooping in. She wasn't even Queen of Westeros yet, and she requested that he bends the knee, basically making him a traitor, and he refused to be he refused to bend the knee to a foreign invader, which was his right. And yeah, so those are really completely different situations, I think.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a good point. And people are a grayscale bomb. People are going crazy in the chat. Y'all are awesome. The Imagination Realm has a good point, and like, I'm not as upset about the Jon and Dany relationship. I'm more upset about how they cultivated it. And I'll read the Imagination Realm's thing. I don't want to see him be too bummed about Dany being his aunt. As far as their relationship, but I do want the issue to focus on the lineage and being the heir. That's a good point. I think that's definitely going to be one of the main focuses. I still feel like if Jon does marry Dany right now, it's going to be because he feels like he has to. There's going to be a lot of things to get in the way of love. And this is more based on realistic scenarios. And this is why we love Game of Thrones. Love doesn't always win. Most of the time, you get separated and you can't be together. That's usually the true ending in life with love, and it's unfortunate. But I just don't see a happy ending with them, which, I kind of don't want, because that's not what we're set up for in Game of Thrones.
Yeah, it doesn't work, like you said, it doesn't work politically, and it doesn't work as for the characters personally, because they're completely different, and it would be politically it would be political suicide for both of them, especially because at the moment Jon is still officially a bastard without any claims to anything, and he's not even really Warden of the North, because he just pretty much gave that title to himself, and she doesn't gain anything. He wouldn't gain anything really after the parentage reveal, because he's already heir to the throne. So it really doesn't make any sense on that level, and emotionally, personally as well. Yeah.
It begs the question what she'll do in the long run. If she'll sit back and everything that she has worked for, if she's gonna just let someone else have because it's their right. Will Dany do that? I don't think so. If she
No.
makes it past the Battle of Winterfell, this is going to be an issue because Dany is thinking in long term. We've beaten death. Now I want people to bend the knee. I love Dany as a character because of how gray she is, but people think she's a superhero when she kind of is, but she's her own superhero, which is how life works. People help other people when it suits them. They hurt other people when it suits them. When stuff suits them, that's the nature of reality. Unfortunately, you have good people and bad people, but usually the good people get screwed over or they die. So, you just got to watch out. Don't be too good. If you want to be good, be about 85% good, or you're going to get killed. Riso,
Yeah.
Bobby Catalano, and oh my goodness, Allison Michelle. What is up? How's everybody doing? Thank y'all for popping out. Love y'all. Woohoo. So we'll get into it a little more. Jon, last hero, Azor Ahai, because there's an argument you could say Dany's Azor Ahai and Jon is the last hero. Dany is wielding Lightbringer. If you look at her rebirth, she was born from salt and smoke, kind of the same way Rhaegar was at Summerhall, amongst tears and the fire of the wildfire and the seven dragons' eggs. Which, man, I can't wait to read more about that. Sorry, I won't get too much into that. But what do you think in general about Azor Ahai, Lightbringer, and the Last Hero, or is it just a story that these people are hanging on to?
It's probably because if we are to get the long night, then we'll get probably the true story of the last hero in there somewhere, somehow. Yes, you could say that probably Jon is the last hero, but or Azor Ahai, but a lot of people suspect that it's Rhaegar, that he's actually Azor Ahai, and that Jon's Lightbringer to save everybody against the darkness. Because if you look at it, there's the three tries. Water, a lion's heart, and the wife. So you could say that it was, and like the three tries for the three swords and the three pregnancies and stuff. But yeah, you could say that it works. It makes his character more epic, if you could even make his character more epic for the, like we talked about last night, the main focal point or the main actor that's representing of Game of Thrones to be the one that saves them all, and to have such a prominent lineage that he comes to find in the last season, and then he gets to be this mega person. It's a cool way to end the show.
Read Peter Griffin's comment real quick, if you don't mind.
Okay, so it says, I've seen a video on the three types of Thrones characteristics: the honorables, the clevers, and the mixtures. Honor has been crapped on for 7 seasons, and why honor will win, and is why honor will win in the end. Yeah. Because because in the end, honor is the most important thing. Because yes, you can be clever, but that doesn't, like, you can be book smart, but does that help you win in the end? Maybe, but it helps the honorable people in a sense, or the people that want to know how to fight and do what they need to do. But I'll let you guys talk about that too.
Yeah, Feuerhexe, what do you think? I mean, it would be sweet if Honor did win out, but I still don't see Jon and Dany living. Jon's already dead. I see him reluctantly having to live with a bunch of pain, but there being a silver lining at the end. What do you think, Feuerhexe?
I don't think honor will win at the end because it's more complex than that, because you can be honorable and still know when to shed your honor in order to achieve certain things. And I think that's what Jon is doing at the moment and has been doing for a while. He knows when to ditch his honor in service of a greater good. And I think that's basically a huge point of his character arc, that he learns to be dishonorable when he has to achieve certain goals, like saving the world. Yeah. I wouldn't really agree with that, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good point. If you're going by the odds would be maybe Honor does win. There's possibly
But I
if
don't think I don't think Jon will die again. I think he will survive.
yeah, I see Dany passing away only because it's been so heavily foreshadowed. It's not that I want her to die, but man, it's just there. It's there for her to sacrifice herself. She could be Nisa Nisa. Honestly, they could go the whole cheesy route and make
No.
her Nisa Nisa. I know, but they could do that. But also, you have to remember there's something going on with Melisandre. I think she's gonna do some type of ritual and sacrifice her own blood. The fire is within her. I think she may sacrifice herself with someone else. I'm still trying to work it out, but in my
I, ch-
opinion,
I
she
keep
could
changing.
help.
Yeah, I keep changing my opinion about that like every week because I'm very sure that Daenerys will die as well. But the way of her death is still a little, yeah, I'm still unsure. But I don't think she will sacrifice herself willingly to save the realm. That would be very 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 cliche and anticlimactic. I think she would maybe somehow do something that will cause her own downfall. Uh, yeah, but I think she will get the most epic legendary death in the entire story.
Yeah, we got hashtag save Danny in the chat. I know you love that. It should be epic, and I still don't even think people think childbirth would be a bad way to go. But what are you saying about Lyanna Stark, who gave birth to the person you love, Jon Snow? So,
Or
plus you're
Tyrion
given a life.
Lannister.
That would be kind of her sacrifice. Like, not necessarily she's consciously making a sacrifice, but she's sacrificing herself. Um,
But
it's an
she would only sacrifice herself to give birth to yet another Targaryen bastard. So
well, you could argue that you'd want the Targaryen name. You know, the Maesters want to kill the Targaryens off, basically,
Right, right.
because of the genes and how prevalent, basically, mental illness is in Targaryens. You can't kind of blame them over the couple of 300-year rule of the Targaryens or 150-year rule. I can't remember. Don't quote me on that. But I don't know. That is hard to say. I don't feel like it just feels too easy that some Stargarian or or John's just gonna. I feel like he doesn't have much of. Yeah, the whole Stark and Targaryen conversation makes me think they could go super cheesy. But someone save me here for going a rant because I feel
Yeah.
like I want to go on a rant.
With the Stargarian thing, I know like HBO has been using a lot of the mixing of the Stark sigil and the Targaryen sigils kind of together. I feel like everybody's like, oh, they're using it because it's meant for Jon and Dany. It's like, well, if this is the War of the Roses that George has kind of said that this is relatively based off of, then you would think that it leans more to videos that Brita and I have done, where it's like the cousins ended up marrying and uniting, the realm being Jon and Sansa. But you could say that they're doing it for Jon and Dany, just mixing up the titles of the relation. But yeah, Dany, she will most likely not make it out of this season. I know blasphemy that we're mentioning that she's gonna die, but it's set up in a way that she wants to break the wheel, and the only way to have the wheel broken is that somebody else is in charge. That because with her sitting on the throne itself means that the wheel hasn't broken. The simple fact of her family being the ones back in charge just means that for the last 7 seasons, the wheel has only makes a 180-degree shift to completely disbanter the Iron Throne and to completely give everybody back what they're used to and kind of remove Aegon's conquest and demolish that, that's essentially breaking the wheel and changing the realm for what it is. And
honestly, I don't think she knew what she was saying when she said it.
Yeah.
Nobody really knows what breaking the wheel really means. Not even she never explained it. Nobody really knows what she really wants. Yeah, but like you said,
Sounds good.
Yeah, really, it's only either death for her or she's going back to exile. I don't really see any other end game scenario for her. And she's not the mother of any human children. She's the mother of dragons, and that's nothing more, nothing less, and that's what she's always gonna be.
True. Allison, Michelle, Jon is dead. He's a fire white. That's pretty much confirmed by Germ. Also, all men must die. The thing there with is Dany to Missandei is we're not men. So you could go that route, and they could pull that, but I don't know. And Jaw Girl said, I think I said that right. She didn't know part of her journey. Yeah, I think it sounds good, and breaking the wheel in her mind, it's like you just want to shake things up. And she probably could have used a better idiom, but
yeah,
or
way to describe it.
She may ultimately break the wheel. It could be the subconscious thing and not do it of her own volition. But if she truly does love Jon, and I'm going to go the cheesy route because we can't all three sit here and do the same thing. So I'm going to go the traditional route. If she really does love Jon, I feel like she will try to change. She will try to show him that she can be better, or she will make some gesture of goodwill, because I think they're going to have a tiff, and then the battle's going to come. But they're going to have to deal with that after the Battle of Winterfell if both are alive, which I think they're definitely going to be.
Yeah, and you are correct, Johnny, in the pronunciation of Jaja Girl.
First ever, yes.
And yeah, I feel in season 8 we're going to get them arriving to Winterfell, being all happy, giddy, that traditional stuff. And then at the final moment, it'll be, you're actually Aegon Targaryen. Bum, bum, bum. And then an entire episode where Jon's in more of a brooding state, as we call this. The brooding hero, where he's brooding the entire time, angry and all that. And then when the battle comes, he has to be Jon again. And he has to be this courageous person and have to fight with Daenerys and fight with her armies and fight with his armies. It's going to be a up and down, up and down, up and down situation. And it'll end up on a high note, because I know, Brita, you had said in one of your videos that everything that happened at the end of the season completely changed in the next one. So
nothing they ever teased or hinted at the end of a season really became reality in the next season. Also, I'm not even really sure if Daenerys really stays at Winterfell and fights against the White Walkers, because also in the trailer we saw only one. I think we saw only one White Walker in the trailer at the very end, and then at the rest of the trailer it was just people fighting, and there wasn't any scene yet of Daenerys actually fighting Winterfell. No. I wouldn't really count on it that she stays there, because at the moment she's not even there because she wants to be there. She's only there because she thought Cersei actually sent her troops north, and because she thinks she's got a crush on Jon. And yeah, I wouldn't be really too sure if she really stays there.
It could very much be like Dance of Dragons, when the sons of the Harpy have revealed themselves in the arena, and then Drogon shows up to then take her away, and then Jon and his company are left to fight Winterfell. She could say that she's chasing after the Night's King on Dragonback.
Theon took Winterfell with 4 men in the books. They're just 4 men with grappling claws came over, and they opened the doors, and that was it. So Winterfell is a good fortress, but it's not an imposing fortress like Storm's End, like Casterly Rock, like King's Land. It's not even that well defended technically, but I do feel like there are spells woven into the inner circles of that rock because there's two different sections of Winterfell. There's the older section that was built during probably Bran the Builder days, and then you have the outer walls, which are more recently built. There's some good comments in the chat. Sasa, you want to point them out real quick?
Sure. Give me 2 seconds.
Y'all are
So,
awesome, chat.
Hold on, my tab is being funny. So, the end just of like icy spots and Maleficent villain thing at the end justified Machiavellian thing. Sorry, at the end justified means giving up honor for the greater good.
Greater good. That's a scary term, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. The imagination realm. I don't think she really understood what she means. She points out this one's on top and that one's on top and wanted to break the wheel, which would exclude her plans of a Targaryen being on top. Very true. Alice and Michelle did not. I cannot talk today.
Targaryen was on top of her. Boom.
Boom. The combination of the dragon and the direwolf could very well be for the child. Yes.
I think that's
John
a good
Walker,
point.
the parallel between Jon and Dany and Jaime and Brienne. Jon brings out her better impulses in the way her advisors cannot.
If that's it, like the point about the baby, if Jon and Dany both don't live, I could definitely see the bet. That's the only scenario where I will accept Targaryen. Other than that, I just feel like it's forced upon me, even though it sounds really cool. You know what I mean? It does sound really cool,
Yeah,
but that's kind of the only way I
dragons.
can accept it. Is if they both die and Sam or even Gilly decides to do something like that. No, we don't know. We could have there's a billion babysitters for this imaginary magical baby that Feuerhexe loves. I mean, she dreams of this baby every night, don't you?
Yeah, I'm already planning the baby showers, and already thinking about names.
The baby shower stream that will happen between.
Yeah.
Allison, you're Dexter's mom. No wonder your comment seems so familiar. Oh, that's funny. Okay, awesome. I'm glad to know it's you. Let's see.
But yeah,
Do you think y'all think the God's Eye is going to come into play at all? Or you think they just forgot about that? And
they've never really referenced it in the show. I could say like that's what they do with Bran for 2 or 3 episodes is send him there after he's done his creepiness, which is to tell Jon who he is, and then it's like I need to go south. I need to be at the Weirwoods, like that. Like they can do something with him with that, but I'm not betting too much money on we'll see the gods.
I could see a scenario where they go to the Dragonstone and Dragonstone's almost like a freaking god. But there's no godswood there, but that's where the pact was made. So what's the point of them showing that they made the pact on Dragonstone? I don't know. We're getting way off of here, but Jon and the Children of the Forest. That's an interesting question. Are the Children of the Forest dead completely? Was Leaf really the last one? Bran hasn't been too clear on this. It's not Bran. We can think of him as almost no one, but it's 1,000 eyes on one for sure. What do you think about that, Feuerhexe?
Yeah, but they said that Bran next season would become less of a robot and more of a human being again.
Why? Why though?
I don't
That's
know.
funny.
Maybe when his family is back together. I don't know. I don't think that Children of the Forest are completely gone, and I think Bran will be the one person next season who will be the ultimate key to defeat the White Walkers.
Yeah, I'm with the imagination realm. They might go beyond the wall again. Because what we see, the wall seems to be still significant and in play in season 8, and why? We do have where the Night King was turned as well. Will Jon find out he has to go to a mission to the Fist of the First Men? Basically, I think is where he was turned, and sacrifice himself at that point. That could be something I would see. It'd be very horrible, but I don't know.
The theory that Jon becomes the next Night King or something.
Well, there's not a theory. There's gonna have to be another Night King unless they completely destroy magic. Because if you look in the cave, there's the bearded Night King. There's a different Night King from when they made the pact. And this is kind of in the books. You don't even really have a Night King. You have the Night's King. We won't get into all that, but seemingly in the show, there's been at least 2 at this point, and there's been 2 blood ravens as well, or 3-eyed ravens, which I don't think we can discount that we know of. There was plenty before Brendan Rivers and all that. I don't know. They would have to kill magic, but I do think someone's going to replace them. The problem with me is that he looks so much like Bran all of these seasons. It just bothers me that it looks like Bran's face, just a blue Bran face with some spikes on his head. I think that's where they're going with it, and I think they've been way too conspicuous about it. You know what I mean? They haven't hit it too well. Because him being touched, people do talk about that, but that's gonna come back still.
Yeah, it's hard to figure out because we do get Dany and Jon solo, seemingly beyond the wall because it's a lot of snow. So either it's romantic dragon riding lessons, or there's actually a actual purpose to those 2 being by themselves beyond the wall.
Romantic dragon riding lessons.
That's literally the only 2 thought processes that go in my head. Is either it's actually meant to move the plot forward, or to move the romance along, in that department, to kind of make more steps forward, because it's literally them just saying, I don't really like you very much, to then, hey, at the end of season 7. So it's and I can see them sprinkling in romance just to, for the Jon and Dany people out there.
I don't think so.
Show you this castle
I don't think
here.
So. Because they didn't do that in season 7, and I don't see why they should suddenly start doing that in season 8 when there's not even much time left. Suddenly start a romance.
It's gonna be as simple as we need another dragon in this fight that we can control. Jon finding out he's a Targaryen. I think they're gonna try this. It doesn't mean him and Dany are on good terms, because we know Jon that will put aside his personal feelings for the greater good. And I could see this as after he finds out he's Targaryen, it makes a little more sense why Drogon was so calm around him. In the show, they don't get into the fact that it just takes Valyrian blood for the most part, which is a whole nother subject. People throughout the whole realm have a little bit of possibly Valyrian blood in them, closely. So that's kind of why it would be confusing if they went that route.
But the dragons were pretty nice to Tyrion as well.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't have Valyrian blood.
Tyrion didn't touch it though, did he? He didn't touch Drogon, did he?
He took
off the chains,
he took off the chains. But you can go with it. See, if you read the books, it's possible that he's Tywin. I mean, not Tywin. He's Aerys' son. You could go a couple different routes there, because the histories with the Aerys was just crazy, literally crazy, especially after he got locked up. And I can't remember the island he was on. It was right outside of King's Landing, and it's blanking me. Barristan Selmy actually went in there by himself and tried to save him, cut down a bunch of people. It was fun. They killed Barristan Selmy in the show, though. Anyways, I'll get off this book tangent because
the chat doesn't like my romantic dragon riding left.
No, they don't. But
like Danny McKay says, a rom-com flying montage happens next season. I'm taking my toys and I'm going home.
So there's another thing where they're not going to arrive in Winterfell on the dragons, so we know that much. At least we can pull that from the trailer. So I bringing up the trailer again. Anyway, someone saved me from myself.
So, Dexter's mom asks, "Is it blood magic or magical blood?" I guess that you were referencing in terms of with the dragons, maybe.
Oh, the dragons are some sort of magical being. Um, the Targaryens have to have something special in their blood. I think all blood is magic. If you definitely read the books, the Godswoods, the Weirwoods eat blood. Basically, they take blood. They seem to grow from it. Bran drinks rabbit's blood, and I'm sure he'll move on up the ladder later in the books. And maybe in the show we'll see him get into some all-out cannibalism. Fake Arya, what's up? You got caught up brooding. Oh no. Fake Arya, go check out Bravosic broadcast. She gonna be on the first Nooners of Thrones right after the season opener of Game of Thrones at 2 p.m. Eastern. So check that out. Quick plug. But it's kind of both. Blood is magic, but some blood is more magical than others. King's blood, I think belief goes into it. Belief and the power of the mind, but you have to get really deep and philosophical here. And I'm making people mad because I'm just going off on tangents. Sasa, bring us back. So,
No.
where are they going after the Battle of Winterfell?
South.
Assuming they survive.
South, probably. Jon will probably have to treat with Cersei again. Because even though he was like, no, I fight for Queen Daenerys, something will obviously have happened that decimates the North. So he'll have to go and ask her for either resources or to be good and like actually like work with them. Some people even put it out there that Cersei will have to will be proposed to by Jon and propose like the idea of him having to create an alliance with Cersei, either through marriage, which makes completely no sense, or something like that. But yeah, they'll have to go south to treat with Cersei, and yeah, Jon will struggle with like a lot of stuff like this coming season. Not like he hasn't struggled with stuff before, but he'll deal with a lot, and it'll be for him also to see all of his family back together, because the last time he was in Winterfell, he saw just Sansa and leave, saying goodbye to Sansa. So now he'll come back to Winterfell and we have Arya and Bran together, which he didn't know if Bran would still be alive because Bran was beyond the wall for so long, and then Arya, they never knew where Arya was or what she was doing.
Well, right there, Jon and Arya. Nobody really talks about Jon and Arya that much. What is gonna happen? Because I think this is gonna be one of the most rewarding scenes in the entire show for me is Jon and Arya ending up getting to hug one another again. The two closest people, and they went on two completely different journeys. They both come back weird and silent. This whole family comes back weird and silent, except Sansa. She's just sassy, and she's telling everybody what to do. What do you think, Hexa, about the Arya and Jon reunion?
I don't think the reunion will be what people hope it will be. I don't think it will be the big emotional. It won't be anything like the Jon Sansa reunion. I think. I don't think Arya will be really present when Jon arrives in season 8. I think because they're doing a lot of callbacks to the very first episode of the very first season. And there she wasn't really present either. She was observing the whole thing from somewhere else. And I think their reunion is gonna be really a little bit more awkward. And I don't think that Arya will be totally pleased with how things went on the surface in the South.
Yeah, I think if they do have a reunion, it's gonna be very sweet in the beginning, and then John's gonna have to. This is what people think. Oh, John just has to hear about his lineage, Danny. No, he has to hear about everything that Arya's done, everything, even more of what Sansa's been through, everything that Sam's thinking, And we have all of these people coming together. Tyrion's gonna be throwing grief at him. We have Jaime getting there. Like his head's gonna explode. And to someone's point, who was it? Fake Arya says, "What about when Sansa said Jon's heart will stop when he sees Arya?" Thankfully, Jon's heart is already stopped, and it's you know what I mean? Because he probably would have a heart attack.
Yeah, to have a heart attack to see how, because the last time he left her, which was in the second episode, he's just like, she was the little girl that was running around, learning how to play with Needle, and when he comes back and sees her, she knows how to use Needle very well. So that relationship will be important, but I do feel like Arya could sneak in maybe at the last moment, because that's what happened when Robert showed up in the first episode. She was able to sneak back into Winterfell and stand beside Sansa. So there'll be something with that. But yeah, Jon's gonna have so much stuff that he has to deal with in the first episode that anything related to kind of Dany without Dany being in the room will...
Jon is Atlas. He has the world on his shoulders.
Literally, he does. Everybody's like, no, he shares it with Dany. He's like, no. He has his entire family and the North. And he'll also find out that Sansa and Arya had basically killed off Baelish.
I have to say something. Fake Arya just wants to see Jon and Arya have a little practice fight scene. That would not go good for Jon. Come on, Fake Arya. You know Arya beat the hell out of Jon.
Why is Arya suddenly such a good sword fighter? When did she ever?
She's been practicing since the whole season. That's the only person you see practicing the whole time. Jon practices all the time too in the books, but they don't emphasize it much on the show. But he's just an above average fighter. He's good, but like if he fought Brienne of Tarth, he wouldn't win. And Arya didn't win, and it's a sparring match. But I think Jon and Arya would be a good match. I still think Arya would win in the end, only because she's been practicing killing people a multitude of ways. It wouldn't be like Arya thumps him in the face or nothing. Because they've both seen a lot, but if you go back and watch Arya, every scene that she isn't talking in, she's training at her dancing, especially with the Hound. And even in the book, she has a stick when she doesn't have a needle. She can't stop training. And that's one of the few ones they were consistent with. Like, some people just come back and were badass, and you didn't even see them training one time. And I can't remember off the top of my head, but there's a couple of people that did. Well, we'll see Rob and Aaron. He'll come back and be bad as hell. That's what I'm saying. That's my prediction. Sorry for ranting. Go ahead, Feuerhexe. I know what you mean, though.
Yeah, I was just reading the chat. Sorry. What was the question?
Oh, it wasn't a question. I was just kind of ranting off of what you were saying. I was kind of agreeing with you, but coming at it from a different perspective.
No, I really missed it when Arya became suddenly such a good sword fighter, because she spent like 2 seasons in Bravos not really sword fighting. So she was suddenly in season 7 she was, super skilled sword fighter. I think that was really, very fan servicey.
Yeah, it's just to kind of maybe show her doing so well in like a young version of kind of like a young sword fighter like Brienne. So I don't know. Fake Arya also mentions Aura will have a heart attack for all the shit that they have piled on him. Yes, very true. He could just be like, God damn it. He'll sit in the chair at Winterfell and just be like, God damn it, I have everything on my shoulders right now, and then something else will show up, like, oh yeah, Cersei's not actually coming with any army. He's like, and then he'll be like, God damn it, and he'll just like get up and walk away, and run away to like some place.
If Jon seriously expected Cersei to show up north with her armies, then he's really a bigger idiot than I really thought he would.
Yeah, I think they may make it like that dramatic thing of like him just being realizing, oh shit, but in all actual reality, he actually understands that she's not coming, because in the letter it says he mentions Cersei first and then Daenerys. Like, you'd think if you've pledged allegiance to Daenerys that you'd mention that first and then talk about Cersei second, but the fact that it's that mention of Cersei has agreed to come and join us, and I will agree to fight with Daenerys if we win, or something along those lines. Like, there's a strategic reason why he mentioned Cersei first and Dany second, and it's something like that. So yeah, there's and then how Arya, like, Dexter's mom also mentions like how Arya will be restrained, and if with the whole killing people, because Jon doesn't like to kill people, so he'll have to deal with his little sister having wiped out the entire phrase as well, and him finding that, making that understanding that she did that, because the last time he saw her, she was just a little girl that was learning how to fight properly, as well.
Yeah, that's. I do hate that. I don't know. We'll kind of go a little bit back with Jon, because I do feel like he's not going to get the ending he wants. Period. I mean, and the ending he wants is seemingly death at this point. Kind of goes the same for the Hound. I think he has a little more lust for life at this point, but he's a brooding soul as well. But we'll try to stick with Jon Snow. Tinfoil theories that you just can't resist and hope happens. What do you think, Feuerhexe? Anything you got?
What tinfoil theories?
Any tinfoil theory that you like that's probably not true, but you like it anyway?
So can you go first, Mackenzie?
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
It's no big deal.
Oh, yeah. The tinfoil things that would be that's kind of cool. Well, you could kind of say, even though, like, you could say that like, the whole Jon and Sansa romantic thing is tinfoil or complete BS, but it has substantial standing, and I'll do it because Brita probably won't mention it, but Brita has really, really awesome video about Jon and Sansa. If you haven't watched it already, she goes, and it's like about an hour or so long. It's awesome. She goes from the show evidence to book evidence and talks about how this makes sense for not only the show, but for the books. And I feel like that is a tinfoil theory that just, it makes a lot of good points and a lot of good sense about it. I know we probably won't get it in the show, but we can potentially have hints about it, especially with that Sansa glance, and probably Sansa's interaction with Daenerys and Jon.
That's a good point.
Yeah, if you wanna call that tinfoil, then I support that tinfoil theory.
I put it under the blanket of that, but I know it's not tinfoil. In my opinion, it's not tinfoil, but for everybody else, it's tinfoil.
I don't think it's a tinfoil theory, because there's so much evidence and it makes so much sense narratively for the story. And I really think, to go back to the trailer for a moment, there are so much hinting at, as much as I hate it, they are hinting at this triangle, because we had Sansa's scenes edited or cut in between Jon Daenerys scenes, and she was looking really upset. I think there are really very strong hints that they are going into this direction. So, and if they really go into this direction on the show, then it's also because George R. R. Martin is planning this in the books, because it would be too big of a change just to do it for a TV show, because they said that the characters would have the same end game fates as George R. R. Martin was planning.
Well, I mean, if it does happen, I don't feel like it's going to be for love. But real quick, before it goes away in the chat, Danny McKay has my favorite tinfoil theory. Someone in the trailer grabs a bow. Imagine it's Robin, poised to make a heroic kill. He shoots and hits Tormund in the shoulder. Everyone looks at Robin, and he dies of shame instantly. And then Septa Unella comes out of nowhere as a white. And shame. I threw the last one in there. No, that is a good point. Except to Shayna's secret is his tinfoil is when Ed asked Jon, "Is that you in there?" That it's not Jon. It's really someone else. So, yeah. I don't see it being for love at this point. Like later, if they would have had more time to cultivate it, I could see it. But right now, it's gonna take them a minute, right? Wouldn't you think? But we've seen love
Mhm.
fast track before, so I wouldn't throw it out there.
I think there's
Every
already I think there's already something going on beneath the surface, but of course, nothing will really happen before they really know about the parentage, of
Mhm.
course. And I think it's going to be mostly, that's a beautiful thing, really. It's going to be mostly for political reasons, to keep Jon tied to the north. When it turns out that he's a Targaryen, and it would also unite because, Sansa already has the support of the North and also pretty much the Vale and everything. And I think it would be a great way to unite the North and the South, and to tie Jon to House Stark and to the North. Yeah, but I think the great thing is that it would also be very much make very much sense on a personal, emotional level for both of them, because they basically complete each other's dreams and wishes and fantasies.
Exactly. Like, like yeah, because they fight like an old married couple already, and like John Danny is just like run away.
well, they are like an old married couple. I don't know. It is funny because it's crazy how many people that you can see Santa being up with, and I could honestly almost see her being with no one,
Mhm.
being the actual first wardeness of the North. Um, but that doesn't mean, I feel like, especially what's happened in the show, they might go the route where she isn't even interested in that anymore.
Yeah,
Um,
you're
that
right
I,
there.
experience just, I'm not saying that it's true, definitely true, but it's a possibility. I don't know though. Go ahead, Feuerhexe.
I,
I hear
I
you
don't
rebuttal.
I don't think so, because her character and arc has always revolved around, she's a romantic at heart, and she's still longing to have a family and a husband and children. That has never changed, even more so after everything she's been through. And her ending up all alone would, number one, send a terrible, terrible message as the abuse victim that she is. It would send the terrible, terrible message that someone who got abused and who got her dreams crushed will never be able to recover from this. And I don't think her arc is leading to that. And right now, in season 8, people always pair her up with so many characters, except for the one character that she's actually closest to at the moment, and giving her some last minute match with someone like Gendry, who wouldn't really make any sense, but people somehow theorize that, or even back in a political marriage with Tyrion would be very, very unsatisfying for her.
Well, there's two things, and I'll just go by simple. It's either, and I don't necessarily like it, gonna be Tyrion because they wouldn't even have to get married again necessarily, and it would just be a figurehead type marriage, where they're just married for the paperwork. Or to your point, John would be a good marriage if they had time to cultivate it, and even if they didn't, and they married not for love, it's still a good marriage. It's not a bad thing. Uh, and to y'all's point, show watchers only. If your Hexa is strictly show, and she definitely comes out with this, and I see everywhere she's coming from. It's really good, but I still feel like what was that Fakari was saying? Elizabeth the First, kind of. I know Sansa isn't the Virgin Queen, but she kind of represents the Virgin Queen in a sense. Um, but I don't want to get into that because I'm not a female. I'll let y'all talk about it a little bit.
Yeah,
I
they
feel unqualified right now.
no, but it's the idea that she felt like she could stand alone after everything that had happened. Um, I can delve more into it on another video or like live stream and such. But she did have, like, it's historically that Elizabeth did have suitors, and that she just never went anywhere with anything about it. Like, there was Robert Dudley, and I think the Archduke of Sweden or something like that wanted to marry her, but she ultimately decided no. But yeah, I could see that Sansa doesn't have any romantic relationship like that in the books, and that's who she's just used to at the end, because obviously the Ramsay plotline doesn't happen to her character in the books. So yeah, she's most definitely Elizabeth Tudor, and I can see Dany being Mary Queen of Scots. So yeah, it's something like that. But I do feel like, because there's so much Team Jon and Daenerys versus Team Jon and Sansa, that they could try and do that love triangle thing. Like, they pushed it in the, like, they're hinting at it obviously in the trailer, and it's a thing that's in the books, that there is a love triangle involving Jon. Obviously, it's with Jon Tyrion. It was originally Jon, Tyrion, and Arya, but you can do it as Jon and Daenerys and Sansa, or Jon and Tyrion and Daenerys, or something like that. But
just a love triangle aspect too. And it's a great point because that is the original outline of the book. So you have to think this love triangle is going to come back into play. And what is the only love triangle we have? It's with Jon and Dany and possibly Sansa. Or if you throw in Tyrion, but then you have to still make a love triangle. And there is the only one that you can actually make that is plausible and given y'all's points is Jon and Sansa. I don't know if they're going to do it, but I can see it for sure.
It
I
would
would.
be, yeah, it would be such a waste if they didn't do it. Because, Also, Sansa's importance as not just key to the North, but also the importance of her children has been stressed so many times throughout the story that just can't see her ending up alone and without any family at the end. Even though she still wants that deep inside. So
yeah, Jon. Because the funny thing is, though, Jon's kind of always struggled with his love stories and, like, love and relationships and stuff, because of being a bastard child and not having the mother figure in his life, because the only mother figure in his life absolutely despised him as a human being, wished death upon him probably every day. She probably prayed to the stranger to get rid of Jon. But yeah, so to have him have, you could say he has slight mommy issues, and to have two strong women kind of wanting to support him and sort of be there for him is just pretty awesome. And whether it's, we see Santa look more at him in a romantic light now because of Ned's whole "I'll find you someone brave, gentle, and strong," or just the simple fact that he's just coming into his own and really admires who he is without Daenerys, like, being all buddy with him. Like, it'll be a good thing, and I hope that they don't mess up Jon's character in the end and don't make him just a fool for love, because that's not his character at all.
yeah. Also, if we go back to Jon as Ned Stark Reloaded and Sansa as Catelyn Stark Reloaded, then they didn't marry for love either.
Exactly.
They built it stone by stone over the years, and it lasts longer. And I think I can totally see that happen for Jon as well.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if it makes so much political sense as well, because marrying into the Stark house, something that he always wanted to be a Stark.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be exploded a little more than we think at the end. I don't know how much houses will necessarily matter. It depends on the devastation we get here, how far the long night goes down and reaches to. If it makes it as far as it did the last time, which is basically the top of Dorne, right at, I want to say near Starfall. I can't remember, but there could be devastation like we've never seen. People will freeze and die, like the little girl and the old man that the Hound took their silver and left, and they found them dead and cold. there will be much and more of that. This is going to be a super evolutionary bottleneck situation. They're going to have to rebuild. So I don't even know how much the houses are going to be involved. That's something we can think about going forward. Now with the show, though, there's so much money in those house names, house this and house that. So it's hard to point it out. But I feel that definitely in the books and maybe in the show that everything's going to get shaken up to the point, and you're just going to be glad that certain people are still left alive to rebuild, in a sense, if that makes sense. Um, with that though, everybody in the chat, let me know if you think Jon is going to live or die, which I think, maybe it's redundant because he's already died already. But still, let me know if he's going to live or die, and whether you
not die
think
again.
Dany's married, whether he's going to get married to Dany. And the only marriage I think we're going to see in season 8, sorry, ladies, the only marriage I think we're going to see is Sam and Gilly. That's the only marriage I think we're going to see.
Yeah.
But that's me. I don't think they're going to give us a bunch of marriages, but they're maybe trying to go out with a bang here and just do a bunch of fan service. And if it does happen with people having to get together, I would see a lot of these alliances near the very end, right? After everything's done, because they have two different armies slash problems to deal with. You got the living and the dead that they both are gonna have to basically defeat. And I don't think they're gonna defeat the Night King at Winterfell. I think they're gonna get away, and it's gonna come to King's Landing per Dany's vision. I don't, I think that's winter come, and it's not just from wildfire blowing up. So
yeah, there's some good thoughts in the chat. Maybe that is the only thing to destroy the Night King is the mayor. I guess is Jon being dead or something. I don't know. I can't remember the context, but Jon dying again. The imagination realm thinks that Jon will live, and that she hopes that they don't get married if she's gonna die, because it feels like it's almost like a bittersweet thing. But George promised a bittersweet ending, so to have a moment like that, only to her to be taken away, because we may get another colored wedding, even though we all don't like it. We may get another colored wedding with two important people getting married. So, no.
You know who would be a perfect match? Daenerys and Euron Greyjoy. They are like the new. They are Storm. Did you hear about Storm?
Yeah, from you
in the
on
books,
Twitter.
though, do you know how effed up Euron makes Ramsay look like a little puppy, like a cute puppy? In the books, Euron makes Ramsay look like a puppy. Oh my god, that's so jacked up. But I can see that. That's hilarious.
Yeah, it was from you on Twitter. I heard about that. It was funny. Yeah, because if you look at
He's perfect in the show with that eyeliner, though.
Yeah, the picture. Well, if you look at the pictures with her on the throne and Euron on the throne, they'll just look, and you stick them close together, or look at them side by side. It just looks right in some weird way. Like it just it looks right at some weird thing. That's just it's funny.
They are like the poster villains, really, and the Night King looks exactly the same if you put all three of them together. It's like one line of poster villains. Would be so perfect next season.
They all have great makeup artists. I think they go to the same barber. And they probably hang out together. But we can definitely agree on that.
There's things now in the chat. It's a nice day for a white wedding. We kind of did have the
nice play on words. Y'all are awesome in the chat. I'd kind of like to thank y'all for coming on. If you're a Hexa, where can we find you? Let everybody know where they can find the genius that is your Hexa or Finchin82 on Twitter.
Yeah, Feuerhexe, my channel, the same name, Feuerhexe. And of course, mostly on Twitter as Fienchen82, which I think I'm gonna put into the chat here. I'm mostly active there and spreading my bullshit.
Awesome. And she's a fantastic follow. Has some really, really intriguing content, and she gets down to the bitter detail. I like it. I like it a lot. So you got to check it out. And I know I butchered both of her names, so don't get me there. Thank you so much for coming on. It has been an honor. MackenzieLBurns, aka Sasa. Are you doing anything lately?
It seems like we're doing everything all the time. Next week on Wednesday for Episode Club, we should be, fingers crossed, talking Season 6, Episode 9, Battle of the Bastards. All of the other episodes that we'll be talking about will be podcast style, so look out for those. We should have some coming out shortly. Then I'm always on your channel, Johnny, or always on Cylon Johns, which is tomorrow night, and you can obviously plug that. But yes, and also the butt stream will show up at some way, somehow it will show up. So get your lists ready, and because we'll be talking about them all. So
Hashtag best butts. Now, this has been a really fun, fantastic day. Definitely check out my friend's channel there. Check out Jon St. Baptiste, Handmade by Bobbi, Bravosi Broadcast, AU Pack Mule, and look, the Cylon Johns. Tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern, we will be doing Resurrection Ship Part 1, Season 2, Episode 11, spoiler free. Come check it out. You're going to love it. It's a very fun deal. We got Maegor the Cruel Quickie of Ice and Fire coming out Sunday. So if you want your quick history lessons of the world of Ice and Fire, well, come check it out. I'll give it to you in 3 to 5 minutes. That's all we need. All you can take that however you want. Out of context Thursday. I'll also pretty sure I think it's JR's channel Saturday. We're doing the Gray Rats stream, and we'll be getting into Maester Crescent and
the High Towers.
The High Towers. So that's going to be extremely fun because the Gray Rats permeate through all the land, and they are controlling. They are the Illuminati. I'm going to get banned for saying that. No, I'm just kidding. So I'll thank all of y'all for coming out. I think I've plugged everything, but if I hadn't, just stay tuned. Much and more to come. And that's it. Kenzie, would you like to give a couple shout outs before I take us out?
So we have Clarissa Thompson, fellow Cylon Jill, Dexter's mom, Jaja Girl, Katrin C, Reese O, Peter Griffin, Fake Aria, also known as Bravosi Broadcast, Imagination Room, Septicine Secrets, Reese O, Barbara McCall. So many people who are here to join us today. Someone named Johnny Be Crazy. I don't know who he is. Septicine Secrets, Jordy Jedi, Danny McKay. Let's see. So many people in the chat with us today, listening to us talk about Jon Snow. I can't scroll all the way to the top, so if I missed you, I'm sorry. You can yell at me.
Oh, good. Yeah, don't yell at her. We'll try to get everyone, enjoy it while you can, while the chat's small enough for us. Hey, Sunshine and Silver Era, how is it going? Yeah, Catherine Harding. It's okay. We'll see you soon. We'll see you Friday. I know you'll be there. Hashtag tootin' and 10. All right, everyone. I hope you have a fantastic Thursday, wherever it is. And if you're watching this, thank you so much. Like, share, subscribe. I'm getting the hell out of here. Peace.
Bye.